You look sad.
Oh my gosh, I feel sad. I
Oh,
feel sad. This is not an easy life. At least it hasn't been for me. And I think a lot of my listeners are going to be able to identify with just the roller coaster, the up and downs of it all.
right.
And right now, it just feels like such a profound down. This is storyteller therapy. It's like therapy, but for storytellers. I'm your host, Spade Robinson, and it's been my life's work to make having a sustainable career in storytelling, film, television, and beyond more accessible, transparent, and fulfilling. I've created a company to help you do just that, Atlanta Film Project. In the show notes, you're going to get all the links you need to work one-on-one with me, take one of my courses, or get my screenwriting workbook, Script from Scratch, on Amazon. Now let's talk storytelling. Oh my gosh, quite a fanfare. But we are here, and I'm actually glad we're talking today because continuing the conversation that we had the other day,
A good one too.
a great one, and there's
Yeah.
been so much that's happened between then and now
Ooh, do
that
tell.
I think a lot of filmmakers are going to be able to identify with.
Do tell. Share, share.
Oh gosh. I mean, I think the short story is that I personally just am feeling so exhausted by life, by this journey, by this lifestyle. I'm exhausted by the filmmaker lifestyle. It's just been a particularly difficult week
Mm, the life of an artist.
living this life. Yes. So,
You look sad.
oh my gosh, I feel sad. I
Oh,
feel sad. This is not an easy life. At least it hasn't been for me. And I think a lot of my listeners are going to be able to identify with
mm-hmm.
just the roller coaster, the up and downs of it all.
Right.
And right now, it just feels like such a profound down.
Mm.
I posted on my TikTok earlier this morning about the roller coaster and being able to take time and pull away from the busyness of life because busyness itself can be such a distraction, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And to pull away from the busyness of life to be able to replenish and re-strategize. And so I'm in the process of doing that now. And it's just um
Re-strategizing.
I mean, it's all strategy until you get where you want to go. And even once you get there, navigating it,
Yeah.
is navigating a strategy, whatever your plan was
Right.
that we're planning on taking.
Yeah. There's always a pivot. I
Yes.
always have to be prepared for a pivot. Well, you're never prepared for the pivot, but when you have to, is like, okay, well, this isn't working, so let's try something else because we love it so much, we don't give up on it. Or
Okay.
what was that? What was that look? Because
I
I
don't know.
said we love
I
it
didn't
so
see
much, and you
myself.
were, what was
I didn't
that look? I
see
caught a
myself.
look.
What did it look like? Tell me how it looked.
When I said we love it so much, we don't give up on it. Your eyes kind of like, girl, what are you ready to? Do you feel? What are you feeling?
I'm feeling defeated. One
Mm,
thing. I'm feeling very defeated.
mm-hmm,
Um, and I'm feeling very alone. I don't have especially where I live now, many people, if any people, I actually don't think I have anybody in my life where I live right now who know what this life is. And so
mm-hmm,
there's always a lot of encouragement and advice if I ask for it, which usually I don't, because I do understand that people want to be helpful. But they have no idea. And so when you're in that place, you can get encouragement, but it's not specific enough to
Hmm.
actually be helpful.
Got it. Hmm.
So I'm just so
There's a lot of isolation in that. Mhm.
yes. And people wonder why I isolate. Like I was talking to a friend earlier today and she was like, I don't think you should be isolating. Sure, I think I understand what you're saying, but what I don't okay, so it's like this. I'm gonna explain it like this. So you know how there's this saying that nobody understands white culture better than non-white people.
Hmm. Yes, I do.
But
Very much. Hmm.
white people don't understand white culture as much
Hmm.
as non-white people do because
Hmm.
we all have to learn it so intimately to navigate it to be safe in it.
Yes.
White
Hmm.
people can't see themselves inside of it because they're in it.
Yeah, because they're the center of it.
Right. So they
So,
can't see it clearly
hmm.
and soberly unless they do
Hmm.
an incredible amount of work, which I'm sure some people do. Um, but they're not necessarily incentivized to do so.
Hmm.
In the same way, I know the real, regular, let's say, civilian world outside of film and television. I know the civilian world better than civilian people know it because I've had to navigate it and dip in and out of it in order to pursue the life that I live
Hmm.
in a way that civilian people understand it to some extent,
Hmm.
but they will never understand what it's like over here ever.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
because of their understanding of navigating the rest of the big world, there's an assumption that, oh, I think I get this, I think I understand. This is what I think you should do, or this is how you should think about it.
Hmm.
And it's just so clear to me that you don't at all know what this is like, and you don't know how to navigate it, and you really cannot give me any advice or strategy about how to navigate it.
Hmm.
You have no idea.
Hmm. Hmm. Exactly. And that's why it's easier to just keep it to ourselves and figure it out ourselves.
Yeah, or find
Yeah.
community that really
Hmm.
understands.
Yeah.
But where I live in the middle of the country, that is few and far between, and the
Yeah.
intersection of that and diversity is even fewer and further in between. Well, for the people, let before we get too deep into it, let me
Hmm.
introduce who you are, your organization, what you do. Tell us all about you.
Okay. All right. Well, my name is Vici Howard, and I am the director, programmer for BBFF, the Black and Brown Films Festival. It's a nonprofit organization. We work in the Chicagoland area. Our main mission is to provide a submission-free film festival to Black and Brown filmmakers. So we take that financial barrier away from filmmakers who go to festivals and you have to pay $50, 30, whatever. So we take that barrier away. So it's completely free, and we have a film festival. We partnered with the University of Chicago. So every July we have our film festival there at the Logan Center of the Arts, and we're growing probably faster than I expected us to. Like it has blown my mind. And as the director of a nonprofit, you wear so many hats. You're the director, you're the programmer, you're the uh, you know you do the budgets and make the calls, you're the secretary, you're the assistant, you're tons of hats. And so You do it because you love it. You have very frustrating days, but then you have very, days where I feel extremely blessed and privileged to be able to provide this service, and it's very well needed.
It is very well needed. Thank you for the
Hmm.
work you do. It is appreciated. I don't know how much you get to interact with your filmmakers on a sort of year-round basis. I know during the festival, there's that sort of high energy time
Oh yeah.
and
Hmm.
um, around the year where there's a lot of logistical work going on. I don't know if you get to hear it often enough, but the work that you do is very much needed.
Hmm. I'm starting to see that, and initially I began this festival just as a way to showcase my own work. It was out of a very selfish reason, to be honest with you. I made a film back in 2022. It was a 20-minute short or 21-minute short. And back then, I didn't realize 21 minutes for a short is almost a death sentence for a short. It is very, very difficult to program a 21-minute film in a film festival, and they don't tell you that. They'll take your submission fees, when you go on Film Freeway and you look through there's literally thousands of the film festivals that you can choose from, and uh usually a short film, they might be like, oh, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, or whatever, for a short film, but they're not going to program. It's very, very difficult to program um a short film at that time, with that time. And so I submitted to over 20 film festivals at $700 in
Oh my
submission fees.
gosh. What?
$700 in submission fees.
It does add up. Okay, so
It adds up.
I part of the reason why I do what I do is to bring more transparency into the field, to let filmmakers know these kinds of things. So right off the bat, let's talk about this length thing. As someone who programs shorts, has, worked for several film festivals, your short film, a great short for a festival is anywhere between 4 and 13 minutes. That is a great window. That is a great
Yes.
window. I would say 7 to 13. Some of
Hmm.
us have short shorts around 2 to 4 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes. Those
Hmm.
program well because you can just sort of slide those into a program.
Exactly.
But from a programmer's perspective, when you have thousands of shorts applying to your festival and you're creating a block of content, your block is going to run, let's say, however long your block is running, an hour or whatever.
Right.
Then you want to program shorts that are, match well with each other. That's
Right.
a thing.
Hmm.
And then you want to put a block with as many films as you can. And so taking up a third or half of that block with one film is just not going to work. So
Hmm.
I always tell people what the sweet spot is for their film.
Hmm.
And by the way, those of you who are applying for documentary grants, a
Hmm.
great documentary sample
Hmm.
is, to be honest, around the same length. And for documentary, it's different when you're looking for a sample. Documentary shorts applying to a festival, yes, same, same,
Hmm.
same.
Hmm.
But when it comes to applying for a sample for a grant or development grant or something like that, it is around the same, not because longer samples don't do well when you're looking for a grant, because oftentimes, especially when you're submitting a full cut, it does.
Right. Hmm.
It can show that you've told the whole story. The issue is that most filmmakers submit a long sample and it isn't showing off the footage well. You're not
Hmm.
showing scenes, you're not showing sequences, you're not showing a cut. And if you don't have scenes, sequences, or a cut, you don't need to be showing anything 20 minutes or longer. You need to
Hmm.
be showing what is representative of the best of your footage, which if you're not cutting together scenes, sequences, or cuts, then it should be on the shorter end to just
Hmm.
best of your footage. Anyway, just putting that out there.
Right.
that information is clear for filmmakers so they
Mhm.
don't, like you said, spend money that we don't have. I also advise filmmakers to start the year off with a budget. I'm only spending X amount of dollars on festival submissions this year.
Mhm.
And when you say, okay, I have $200 I'm putting toward this, I'm not going over
Right.
that. You are a lot more judicial about where you submit your project, and you're submitting your project to only places that you know are going to accomplish what you want this film to accomplish for your career.
Exactly. When you make your film, I think every filmmaker, when you ask them which festival they want to go into, tell me the top two. What's the top two? Just off the top of your head.
Uh,
Everybody wants to get
America.
into
Well, I would say if I bump into a filmmaker, everyone wants to get into Sundance and Cannes.
thank you. Sundance Tribeca. Sundance Tribeca. Sundance Tribeca. Everybody wants to get into that. To get into that festival. I read somewhere that Sundance last year, it was like maybe 4,000 submissions. And I think they programmed like maybe 63 films or something like that. It's for shorts. I'm talking about shorts in particular, As a filmmaker, you're not thinking that you just think that your film is good enough. You always think that your film is probably better than what it is. And I think I shared this with you the last time we spoke. Now that I'm on the opposite end as a programmer, my 21-minute film would not make the cut for BBFF. And we have a free festival and it would not make the cut. And I'm looking at so many of these films. I'm like, oh my God, this is really, really good. These films are like 10, 10, 10. We have uh, our judging strategy is like 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. We're for production value, for performance, and originality. And I'm like, my film wouldn't make the cut. I don't feel so bad anymore now. Not only on the opposite end, I don't feel as bad. But back then, oh girl, I was so in my feelings. I was so on my feelings. And I did not have a budget. I just knew that I didn't get into this one. Let me try something else. And I budgeted, but when I got my little paycheck, I was like, okay, well, every paycheck, I'm going to put in, $50 for a film festival. And then I try to get the early submission, the early bird submission was only $15 or whatever. But then sometimes, the later submissions would be like $65, $70. And so I'm not thinking that it added up until I actually looked at my bank statement over a series. It's like, oh my God, it's been over $700 on submission fees. Because in my mind, it's like, oh, my paycheck, I just spent $50. And my justification for that is my sister and I go to dinner in Chicago and we spend like $100 on drinks. So whatever. This is something I'm passionate about. I'm going to put the money in, I'm going to put the money in it, But I didn't realize, but once I did a deep dive, so then I started watching like little YouTube videos and kind of getting more into how festivals work. And it was like, yeah, a 20-minute film, like you were saying, the sweet spot. I think someone said like maybe even 15 minutes is even pushing it, for a short film. That's even pushing it. If you don't have a name talent that's where you're selling your like even 15 minutes is too much. So this is information. I didn't do my homework. I was a filmmaker who was just passionate about making a movie. I made my movie. I love it. This is a wonderful script. Blah, 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 community, and we're getting together. We're making it. But I didn't do my homework. I didn't figure out the business part of it. I didn't figure out the logistics and just being practical about my film. So yeah, 21 minutes, way too long. It's not going to get programmed, point blank, period. Film festivals is not a distribution strategy. So
Yeah.
if your film doesn't get into because filmmakers, I think they feel like, of course, it's going to get into a festival. They just automatically think it's going to get into a festival. Some of the films they do not. Okay, so if your film doesn't get into a festival, then what? What are you going to do? What's your plan B? You know?
And if your film does get into a festival, what is, and then what? after that? Like, what is your plan? What do you want
Exactly.
from this?
Yeah.
What is the
Hmm.
plan? And I think in general, film festivals can be a great tool for community building. It's obviously an exhibition format. It can be a beautiful opportunity to meet other filmmakers,
Right.
show what you can do. There are some distribution outlets for short films. Um, it's rare, especially in the United States.
Very rare. Hmm.
Ultimately, though, I think we need to understand where film festivals live along the pipeline of your career.
Hmm.
And because we have such close access to film festivals, meaning we can get on Film Freeway and apply to them, as opposed to some other parts of our careers as filmmakers where we may have less direct access,
Hmm.
sometimes we may go overboard with the access or overestimate how significant film festivals will be as a part of our overall career strategy, as opposed to putting it in the right place along the pipeline,
Right.
so that it
Hmm.
does for you what you need it to do for you in
Right.
your.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
One thing I wanted to talk to you about tonight was that exact balance that you mentioned. What is the balance that you've been able to strike between your journey as an entrepreneur, a nonprofit entrepreneur, um, and as an artist, as a filmmaker?
Oh, that's a very good question. Actually, the artist side of me is kind of on the back burner right now. Is on the back burner. I have been working on a script uh because I my goal is to do a feature. It's like every filmmaker, your goal is to do a feature. So my goal is to do a feature. I'm on page 48. I'm on page 48, like 20 more pages. And the goal was after the festival, I'm going to dive into doing this feature. I really wanted this feature. I have been so busy with curating. We have three events going on for BBFF. We sponsor a poetry film festival that will be coming up in April. Then we're doing a pop-up museum celebrating women of color in June, and then the BBFF Film Festival is in July. So it's busy, 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 busy. You would think that adding like 20 pages to the 20 or 25 pages to a 48-page script would be, not that big of a deal. I used to write at night as a writer. I was like, oh, nighttime. Okay, this is when my creative juices are going. Pop in a gummy and get creative and just write. Girl, I am so busy. So the creative Vici is on the back burner, unfortunately. And now it's just about the business. I love the business. I'm building the business. We're really starting to get a lot of positive feedback. We're starting to get a little bit of recognition. So that's really helpful. And so now that just drives me. So the artsy Vichy, the writer, the director, unfortunately is on the back burner till maybe I'll get back to it in August or September. But right now, I don't have time for it. So it's suffering. The artsy part is suffering. Yeah.
I can very much identify with that.
Mhm.
I, gosh, aside from my consulting firm, I teach at two different universities, and it's more labor than I anticipated. I
Mhm.
do love teaching, but it
Mhm.
is more sort of responsibility than I'm used to. I'm used to teaching adults, and I'm used to working with adults who are so incredibly invested that because
Yes. Hmm.
out of their pocket. They go to work every day at their non-film related job, and they pay out of pocket someone like me to work with them to get their story where they want it to be. And with students whose parents may or may not be paying tuition, who my class may be required for them, they may or may
How
not be.
old are they?
I mean, I'm
How
teaching undergraduate students, so these are young.
undergrad? Okay. Hmm.
There's just a different level of investment, and there's a different level of like hand holding and teaching sort of like very basic skills, even beyond the film writing or creating. There is the basic, this is how you are a student, this is how you think about these things.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I'm encountering in one of my classes that is most of my students are freshmen, first semester college students, they're coming out of high school,
So you're talking about 18 years old,
18
18,
years old,
19.
and
Mhm.
K through 12, everything about your educational experience is pleasing your teacher, regurgitating answers back to your teacher.
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
now that you're an adult, I'm not interested in what I think. I am not the standard. The book is
Right.
not the standard. I'm interested in what you think. I'm trying to grow your mind. I'm trying to grow your creativity. And so that stretching of, wait, this is a discussion. This is not you giving me the right answer. They're like, I just wish you would tell us the right answer.
Right.
It's
Uh-huh.
no right answer. But I
Uh-huh.
understand now that that's like a educational leap that I'm expecting them to make very quickly. And it's like, no, for 12 years, they've only learned one way, and their relationship with the teacher has only been one thing, which
Right. Mm-hmm.
is the authority figure. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I am not your authority figure. More than anything, I am your peer, and I'm facilitating you through this process
Right.
because
Mm-hmm.
I know a smidge more than you do. A
Right.
smidge.
Uh-huh.
And so now I'm slowing down and being like, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah. You have to give them, because they have to unlearn it. They have to unlearn that behavior. They have
Exactly.
to unlearn it. It's so funny you say that, because I'm a substitute teacher in high school, and today I did a 12th grade English class. So I'm on that end where we're getting them ready to go to college, and to be honest, they're not ready. They're not. I don't feel like they are as prepared as we think that we're making them. Like,
Mm.
we're teaching them just enough to, okay, pass the test, or here's just a list of things that you have to do. Here's a checklist. This is the checklist. You do the checklist, and here's your diploma, and let's go out into the world and figure it out.
Right.
But yeah, we're not teaching them to be independent thinkers at all. So I agree with that 100%.
So when it comes to the mindset of being able to weather this, and I'm speaking to you as an artist who's an entrepreneur, who is managing when you're doing art and managing when you're working on your business that is art related. I
Hmm.
myself have a consulting firm, Atlanta Film Project, that I work with writers, filmmakers, directors, and
Hmm.
that is it's a business, and then there's my own work as a filmmaker.
Hmm.
So a lot of times on this podcast, I talk about, as much as I can, just the mindset of navigating this, because there is the actual work, there is the craft, and then there is the mental and emotional side of making sure that we survive this,
Hmm.
um,
Hmm.
survive this work, both
Yes.
in the attempt to do the work, the bravery to make the very best work, the relationships that we have to navigate in the industry and the business itself. And
Uh,
so within that, what would you tell filmmakers that they need to know in terms of developing a mindset that is prepared to weather the very dynamic that you're in?
oh my gosh. Be fierce, be fierce, be fearless, never give up, because you will have so many bumps in the road and so many disappointments. And a lot of it is easy to be like, okay, fuck it, let me just, oh, excuse me, forget it, let me just go and go to the post office, or whatever, let me just get something very practical, or whatever. uh but we do this because we love it, we love it, we love it. And it's almost like a dysfunctional lover. I'd say art, it's like a dysfunctional lover, because sometimes we don't get back what we put in it. You know, you could put so much in it, and it's so hard to. Sometimes it can be really, really difficult to, like, okay, I'm going to do this one more day, and then give it another day, and give it another day, and just not give up on it. You know, yeah. I came in to this very late. You know, as after I graduated from Columbia College in Chicago, I started a family and everything. Uh, so I was kind of like on hiatus for like a 30-year hiatus, and then my family grew up and whatever, and I said, well, let me get back into it. Um, it's just it's something that's so ingrained in us that it just doesn't let us walk away from it. You know, it's so a part of who we are that even in the disappointment, we keep going back to it and then finding other ways of navigating and say, okay, I tried this, so that didn't work. Let me try it another way. And just, you know, continuously pivoting and finding other different ways of promoting your art or showing your art or telling your art or sharing it. So the only thing I've learned is just be fucking fearless and just keep going. Just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. I don't know if I answered your question or not. It,
The only answer that we have is what is present, right? I don't have an answer from any mountaintop. I have an answer from where I am, and you have an answer from where you are, and your answer from where you are is to keep going.
because what else is there? Like for me, and I'm just speaking for myself. Like, what else is there? I feel like I don't even know what I was doing before BBF. Like, what the hell was I doing? I can't even tell you what I was doing because it was whatever it was. It was so meaningless. You know, like this is something that has so much weight on who I am. This is how I identify as a person. I'm an artist, I'm a filmmaker, I'm a creator. This is who I am. Like, what else is there to do? And I'm speaking for me, like, what else is there for me to do? And if this part doesn't work, okay, well, let me figure out another way of doing it. Because there's absolutely nothing else I want to do in this world but create art and present art and bring art to the masses. So I just need to figure out how to keep it moving, and how to keep doing it, even in the face of disappointment. Um,
What is the hardest blow you've had today? What has been
Today,
to date? Not
oh,
today.
to
Date.
date, the hardest blow. Being taken seriously. Being taken seriously is very difficult. When you're starting a new business, a lot of people, they don't like you're like a gnat. Like they don't take you as seriously. Uh, Money is a nonprofit. Money, oh my God, it's coming up with money, figuring out how to put on these events, trying to figure out how to pay for them, how to pay for the venues, how to put the money together to create. So money and being taken seriously is probably the biggest blow. I remember there was a business owner that I was working with, and I was trying to facilitate an event. And this is another Black woman. I was trying to facilitate an event at her venue, and I went and I introduced myself and whatever. And I tried to give her my business card, and she's like, I don't need that. She's just like, whatever. you know. And it was, and the event did not happen. I was I was sidelined for someone else. And I was like, oh, you're not taking me seriously. You're not taking me seriously. You think I'm like small potatoes or whatever. And, I guess, I don't know. But yeah, yeah, I won't get into it. But it was, yeah, having someone to take you seriously or having someone to take me seriously has probably been the biggest blow, you know. It's very disappointing, you know. But I am a firm believer that when something bad happens or something disappointing happens, it's the universe is just what they say. What's the saying? Rejection is redirection, or something like that. Yeah, yeah. And so it just sets me up for something better. So I just look at it like that. But yeah, that was kind of disappointing. Like, I feel like influencers or um, business owners who I go to for sponsors or help or whatever, and they dismiss me. I feel like, did you forget what it's like to have a year one? Like, everybody had a year one. Like, come on. you know, like, you've had a year one. Like, did you not forget? But I feel like that makes me more empathetic to other filmmakers, artists, when they come to me. I'm going to actually sit down and listen, and I want to talk, and I want to figure out what they're thinking or how I can help, because I know what it's like to be dismissed. So being dismissed, it's a gut punch to the ego. You know, it's a gut punch to what I'm trying to do or what I'm doing. You know, so, and yeah, the other part is just girl trying to find money. you know.
You
Um,
brought up one of the most, two of the most, if not the most, significant things that I want to dig deeper into, because I feel like these are perhaps universal experiences for emerging filmmakers or people who make
okay.
television. One is, I'm going to use the word dignity. And two, I'm going to use the word survival.
Mm,
Now, I've heard you talk about both dignity and survival in relation to your business.
mm,
Do you find that there is similarity between the dignity that you consistently have to give yourself because it's
mm,
from you in all the ways that you have to humble yourself to put yourself
mm,
out there,
mhm,
and survival in terms of navigating the financial aspect of it, the stress that can come with that, the
mhm,
stealing from Peter to pay Paul, the moving finances around
mhm.
to make sure everything on the front end looks fine, but on the back end, there's multiple fires. Do you find that there's any parallel between doing that in business and doing that in your career as a filmmaker, or do you feel like they're completely separate?
Ooh. Um, Now I'm thinking back to the rejection that I received when my film was rejected from all those film festivals. Um, I, I kept my strength about it. It was a blow. It was absolutely a blow. I feel like with the film, when I did the film, I didn't think anything. I never thought, okay, Vici, look at the product. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was so like, this is my baby. I didn't think maybe you need to really look at that film again. And did you give it your best? Is that the best work? I didn't think that. It's like, this is a beautiful piece of art. What do you mean you don't? How dare you reject it? How dare you? I was very, very defensive about that, and it was hard for me to see that I did anything wrong with that film, that I wasn't my best at that film. And creating the movie, like, once it's done, it's done. You don't get a chance to go back and, I put $7,000 in that film, so I don't have a chance to go back and, because I know what I did wrong. Like, I can look, I say, okay, those scenes need to go. I wouldn't do this, I wouldn't do that, but I'm not going to put another 7 grand and do it all over again. It's like, it is what it is, what it is. But I couldn't see that there was something wrong with that film, that it just wasn't as good as it could have been. Um with the business, I feel like, there's, even when there's a disappointment, I still have another avenue to fix something. It's like, okay, well, I went to this business owner and they rejected me, but then this business owner won't, or, I can go to this venue. So I feel like with the business part, I can find my dignity over and over again with a new group of people, or a new group of investors, or if somebody doesn't, accept me, somebody else will. So it's easier for me to prove myself, to a whole nother group of, you know, um, like-minded business owners or something like that. But as far as the movie, that was a hard blow. So the only thing I can do with my art is, now the next time I can do something different. I know what the mistakes that I made. I won't do that again. But that's down the line. That's more money. So I feel the business is more forgiving, because I have more chances to prove myself, or to prove what BBFF can do, or whatever. Uh, uh,
I would agree. I would say for my business, there is more space for me to be seen as, or experience validity as a business owner.
exactly.
As an artist, because independently I can create validity as a business owner. You sell something, you own it.
Hmm.
As an artist, so much of it is out of my hands, whereas in business, so much of it is in my hands,
Hmm.
over and over and over again. Having to reclaim a sense of dignity about who I am as an artist,
Hmm.
because it is an expensive thing to practice, and you
Very. Hmm.
can't get good at it without practicing it.
Hmm.
There are possibly years, maybe even decades between practicing it, learning something, and then being able to put into practice what you have now learned.
Hmm.
And because
Hmm.
there is such a gap in between, mostly for financial reasons,
Yes.
um, then there's a long period of time where you don't feel like anything you created represents where you are, or even who you are.
Yes. Yes.
I don't have anything to physically represent who I am as an artist. How
Hmm.
can I say that I am this artist?
Hmm.
My last film was from 2013, and I'm not back there. I'm
Hmm.
way up here now in terms of what I can do, but I don't have
Right.
any proof of it. So I don't have any proof that I am who I say I am.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. I feel that too. Like the film that, okay, so it was a 10-year, shit, maybe a 15-year gap between my films. So I made this one in 2022, and the last film was maybe like 2005 or something like that. I made something, you know. So again, because it's such an expensive art form, if there's a mistake, it might be another 10 years before I can correct it. Before okay, I learned this, I know I'm going to do, okay, the next movie, I'm not going to do this or this, or, you know. Whereas any other art form, I don't, what other art form is this expensive? Really? Because even if you're an artist and a canvas painter, you could, okay, well, I made a mistake. You just get the white, get the white, you go over the canvas and start all over again. You know, when you're a writer, okay, I don't like that scene. You can just do it over again, like right then and there. But as a filmmaker, if you make a mistake on film, or you're not where you want to be as an artist on film, because we don't have the accessibility to the finances, it can be years before you can correct that, improve yourself. Just like, I know I'm a good filmmaker, but I want to, I want a visual representation of what's in my mind, and I want to be able to see it, you know, without the like, oops, oh my God, I shouldn't have put the camera there, and I should have stopped the actor from saying that, and you know, the actor shouldn't have worn that shirt. And you know, just like, oh, you just want to prove yourself, you know, as a filmmaker, that I am a good filmmaker. I know I'm a good filmmaker. I know that I'm a good writer. I know that I can tell a compelling story. I just really want the film to reflect that, you know. I want to get what's in here onto that screen in a way that that I see it in here, you know. But sometimes the way I see it in here in my head is not coming across on screen. And now it takes me another freaking 10 years to do it again and to get it right. But but for the business side, okay, I messed up that Zoom call, or I messed up that, that meeting with, the grant organizer or whatever. It's like, okay, well, I get a chance to do that again and make that correction next week, or with the next person or whatever. But yeah, filmmaking is not forgiving. It's not forgiving at all. Yeah.
I feel very comfortable with this conversation, and I really feel that creating space for us to talk about this is the right way, because I feel, or my impression is that most of what I hear about this life, the life that we're both living and that I know
Mhm.
other people are living, is so you can do it, go, go. And I do a lot of that. I do so much of
Yeah.
it. I do
Hmm.
it. I 100% believe it. But it's a lot of strategy. Like, this is how you should do this. Don't do that. Do this. Don't do that. If you're doing this, you're doing it wrong. If you're doing that, you're doing it wrong.
Right.
And then the cheerleader content.
Hmm.
I don't find a lot of spaces where we can just commiserate on how hard it is.
It's hard, disappointing, sad, expensive. Don't forget that part. Yeah,
And
it's
that doesn't take anything away from what you originally said, which was don't stop, keep going.
mhm.
That is
Yeah,
not,
because what else is there? What else is there?
that
Yeah.
is still very much on the table. However, I need you to know that when you see me on my TikTok being like, keep going, this is what I want you to do. Look up this grant, do this.
Right.
I am not a unaware of what it costs.
Hmm. So expensive.
I am so
Just
aware of what it costs you financially and what it costs you literally every single way.
yeah.
And I am experiencing the same exact thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
You are not alone in any stretch of the imagination.
Hmm.
And just having somebody here with me to talk to you guys now who can very articulately explain what
Right.
the experience has been like for her as well. I hope it helps you to feel seen and heard, even if I don't know you,
Hmm.
even if I never meet you in real life, even if you never talk to me. I do hope that you get that you are part of a global community of all of us
Hmm.
who are having very similar experiences.
Yes. Hmm. I do. I feel that.
Here is the silver lining. Here is here is the good part. Here is the sunshine. Is that as hard as this is, while I cannot promise you when things will change in your career and things will just become easier, and making a film is a series of phone calls, which I think is rare for even the most well-known filmmakers. Packaging may be a series of phone
Mhm.
calls. Getting it made may be different. Anyway, um, it is still very much worth it.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Okay, I wake up and
Hmm.
choose life, and it is worth it every single day.
Hmm. I agree. Like I say, what else is there? As frustrating as it can be, and as expensive as it is, what else is there? This is fundamentally who we are. We are artists, and we love what we do.
I want to say one thing specifically to my women filmmakers and my women filmmakers of color. I know for a fact
Hmm.
I am my grandmother's wildest dreams.
Hmm.
As hard as this life is, and it is plenty hard,
Hmm.
the fact that I get to choose the kind of work I do,
Hmm.
the fact that I get to make terrible, like bad decisions, and I have the freedom to do that, the fact
Hmm.
that I get to be an artist and do what I love and
Hmm.
nobody's telling me I can't
Yes.
is such a luxury across the board
Yes.
for everybody,
Yes.
every
Hmm.
single body.
Hmm.
And I am not owed anything.
Hmm.
And I think as a woman, I was I saw this post not too long ago. It was talking about like the strides that we've made over history. It was as recent as the 1970s where unmarried women couldn't open their own bank account.
Yep. Couldn't get a credit card. Couldn't. Yep. Hmm. Hmm.
The level of autonomy that I have over my life
Yes.
is revolutionary.
Yes.
I need my women filmmakers, especially my women of color filmmakers, to understand this. The act of you making art is revolutionary. It
Hmm.
will always be revolutionary.
Hmm.
And the women who came before you, if they could see you, they would be so proud.
Yes. Yes. Someone once said, we lost so many great women to marriage.
Mm,
Have you ever heard that?
I
We've
have.
lost so many great women to marriage because women, we pour ourselves into other people, our spouses, our children, and we rarely pour into ourselves. I want to share this. Um, you're talking about women, and we really need to give women the room to put themselves first. put their dreams first, their ideas first, what they want, put themselves first. This is what I've noticed from my submissions. We have, as of to date, over 1,400 free submissions. Some of those submissions, maybe about a fourth of them, are from men, but the majority are them are from women. And this is what I notice as far as the content of what I'm receiving. The filmmakers, they never center women. They never their films are never about a relationship, a romance, nothing. It's always about there's a goal. There's they're at war. It's like they have a goal they're trying to accomplish, and it rarely has anything to do with women. Okay, the films that I get from women, about half of them, maybe 60% of them have to do with centering a relationship. That says a lot. And this is still the mentality of women, is they still center a man or a relationship, but they don't center what's important outside of that. It's almost like they don't see themselves outside of a relationship, you know? And to your point about how powerful we are as artists and as women artists, I want to give women the permission to center themselves, and write and create, be selfish in about who you are as a person outside of what you could do for someone else or how you can take care of someone else. I would like to see more films about women being bold, being arrogant, being selfish, you know. And because that spills into everyday life, that spills into the choices that women make. We don't center ourselves. We need to center ourselves. We need to give ourselves permission to be
Be a
first. Be first. Yeah.
right. Like, I'm a person in the world. This is what I want.
Yes.
Top of my list that I think we aren't socialized to even know that we exist outside of outside of being an object of desire.
Mm-hmm.
And we all figure out different ways to be an object of desire. I'm this kind of object of desire. I'm this kind of object of desire. I'm this
Mm-hmm.
object of desire. But we weren't taught that we were valuable outside of being chosen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like, who are we outside of a wife, a daughter, a mom? Like, who are we outside of it? If you take all that, well, who are you? Who are you? Outside of that. And I would like to see that movie. That's the movie I want to see. That movie. Remember, I shared with you last year that we received so many submissions from Iran, Iraq, in India. We received so many submissions, and some of them there's like 7 of them that are tens just across the board. So I have 10 movies all about domestic violence, which tells you what's going on the other side of the world. And we are very fortunate that, I mean, a lot of us deal with that, but for that not to be the center. Um, how do I choose one of all these beautiful movies that tells the same story? They're all tens, they're all beautiful. They're all beautifully made. They're all beautifully acted. Like, how do I choose that one? But what I do love about this international film festival is I get to look and see what another woman's life is like across the globe. I see what her life is like, what her living arrangements is like. You know, they're in these war torn uh, countries, and I am so impressed that even in the midst of buildings are literally falling down, these women are like, you know what? I'm going to make a movie. I am so freaking impressed with with that. You're in a third world country, but you're like, I am an artist and I am going to pick up this camera and I'm going to tell the world what the hell is going on, you know. And I am so thoroughly impressed with that, you know. But on the other end, it's like, yeah, it's usually centering a guy. It's usually about, you know. So it's like, when are women going to be? When are we going to be able to be selfish? When do we give ourselves permission to put ourselves first?
It's a funny time to be alive because
Mhm.
at one point I feel like I'm an American. I've experienced some of the peak of what the women who came before me have fought for, and I've
Mhm.
benefit from it. And I'm also experiencing watching these things slowly be actually not very slowly, pretty quickly be pulled away.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
thought that, my nieces have less rights than I had is
It's
insane.
crazy. It's crazy. Yes.
Um, but I will say this is that if you are listening, if you are under the sound of my voice, as they say at church, um, I don't have to know you, but to your point, I know you can do this. I know
Mhm.
if women are sending films and their communities are physically falling apart in the background, and they can send a film across the world to a programmer who sees their work and champions it and believes in it,
Mhm.
um, then I know two things. One, I know you can do this, and I know giving up is not an option for you. It's not an option for me. It's not an option for any of us.
Mhm.
Two, there is community. You are not separate from programmers. You are not separate from television executives. You are not separate from agents and managers. All
Right.
of us are a part of a community. And
Right.
the more we see it that way, I think the more um,
And we're all artists as
we're
well.
all artists, right? We're
Like
all a part of the
programmers, like everyone that's in the festival, we're all artists.
And
You know.
so I think it's really important for us to feel like a bigger community. I think as much as some very important ideas are under attack in our country, it's more important than ever that we don't separate ourselves by this hierarchy
Mm,
that has been a part of our more traditional Hollywood system, and that
mhm.
we see each other on the same plane and figure out how to make sure that storytelling survives.
Yes.
That is
It's all we have is storytelling. Yes.
exactly.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, so I am not going to take any much more of your time. I am going to wrap up, but I do want
You don't have to. We can talk for another hour, girl. I brought my popcorn and everything.
listen. I have one waiting for me. I do want to let everyone know about your film festival, when the submissions are open, what different categories you have, and how they can apply.
All right. Submissions are open now until March 1st. We're wrapping it up March 1st. And we're wrapping up because we received so many beautiful, wonderful films. And honestly, I don't know how to program them all. I
Mm,
feel like I need a 1 week festival to program these absolutely beautiful films from filmmakers around the world. So originally it was April 15th, and we had to cut it to March 1st because I can't program them. And I
Okay.
feel like I'm doing a disservice asking women to submit or filmmakers to submit their films, and they're beautiful and I can't do anything with them. I felt really sad. We're at like over 60 absolutely beautiful films. And out of those 60 films that are 10, 10, 10, 10s across the board, I could probably only program 30 minutes of it, of 30 of them. So
Okay.
March 1st, it's a wrap.
Okay.
So you have
First
what,
of
like
a
3 days.
few days, and where do they go to?
Film Freeway. Go to Black and Brown Femme Films on Film Freeway. Absolutely free. They're all short submissions, documentary, drama, comedy, horror. We need more comedy, please. We need let's lighten it up a little bit. We need more comedy, animation. Those are I'm always impressed with women of color animators. Oh my God, they're absolutely beautiful. Yeah, so you have until March 1st. We will have our festival in July at the Logan Center for the Arts in the University of Chicago. We do not have a date yet because they tell us what's available. We don't tell them, they tell us. So, okay, we're July 25th is available. So they let us know. So when I know, you'll know.
Okay.
But it will be in July.
Okay. And is there any place where we can go to get updates, whether it's social media, a website, or anywhere so people can go and find you when they're ready to attend the festival?
Yeah, social media, Instagram. I am an Instagram girl. I tried TikTok, girl. I think I have like 60 followers, but Instagram is the place for me. That's always Instagram is always first, and then and then we'll end up updating our website. But Instagram is the first place you want to go for any information about BBFF.
Okay.
So
What is your Instagram handle? Is it just BBFF?
no, it's black underscore brown underscore no black underscore and underscore brown underscore film underscore films. We're gonna have to put that in the
I'm
put that
gonna
in
put
here.
that in the show notes, so it's just easy to just click on.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I'll send you a link. My son is like, Mom, you gotta change it, make it easier, please.
but it will be in the show notes. I will put the Film Freeway link in the show notes. Again, that's going to be available just for a few more days until March 1st.
March 1st.
And I just want to thank you so much for spending time with me this evening and just being honest and transparent, because I honestly believe that it's something that's missing that filmmakers need is access to someone who's going to tell them exactly how it is, commensurate with them, be in community with them, and then have enough of whatever we get from being around each other to keep.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll get that from me every time. I will tell you the brutal truth every single time. I tell you all the good, the bad, and the ugly. Even if you don't want to hear it, I'm gonna tell it all because I can't hold water. So
Appreciate it. I know this is not the end of you and I. We will continue,
no,
and I will see you in July.
you will see me in July. We're looking forward to that. Thank you so much for the invitation. Thank you
Of
so
course,
much. This
of
was wonderful. And you were vulnerable. Thank you for feeling comfortable enough to, to talk and share so much of who you are with, with me and your audience. You're a beautiful person and I love what you do and you're doing a good job. You're doing a great job. And there's nothing else. We got to keep going, girl. We got to keep
Keep going. Amen.
we
Thank you.
got to keep going.
I will take that with me, and thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, have a good one. Bye.
Bye.